Welcome, one and all. I'm Fred Gleek, and I'm here with Tel Franklin, who is a board certified family physician and the CEO of TellMD.com. Thank you for joining me again, Tel.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm trying to figure out how we can talk to people about how to eat healthier. So, what does the regular kind of diet look like for most people, and what should it be?
Well, I hope we have about 3.5 to 5 hours because, when you talk about nutrition, everybody's got an opinion. And I think the most important to think about is the Standard American Diet acronym, SAD, SAD. So America's a great country. I have lived in the UK, but for most of my life, I've lived in the United States, and I love it. I love being an American. But our diet sucks. The typical American diet is it's just horrible. It's probably the most important factor that leads to chronic disease in the United States: heart disease, diabetes, stroke, cancer, and obesity. If there's one thing that we can do for our overall health is to change our diet. And if we're not able to change our diet, how about just changing one meal a day? One meal a day. We can all do one meal a day. Come on, give me a break. One meal a day. We can do that. That's not asking too much. But obviously, the goal would be to eventually make it 2 meals a day. And then, but it's got to be a transition because food is like a drug. You got to have it. You got to have this. You got to have that. You drive by a certain restaurant and you kind of get that smell. And you got to make that turn and you got to drive in there. So the mind is too powerful of an organ not to be under our control. So we need to say, no, I know that sounds good, but I'm going to feel so much better if I go get A, B, and C rather than drive into Wendy's, McDonald's, or Burger King.
Okay, well, let's start with that idea of the one meal a day idea. And let's pick a meal. Let's talk about breakfast, say. The typical, give me what you perceive to be or know to be the typical American breakfast, and what should it be?
Typically, most people have cereal, and the cereal is just loaded with sugar. In fact, you could save a lot of money by just pouring sugar into a bowl and forget going and buying the box, because that's what you're getting. I'm being a little sarcastic, but it's just loaded with sugar, with, sugar frosted flakes, chocolate, da, 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 da. It's just, we want to get something going, and temporarily that sugar will give us a little bit of a sugar high, but it's not good long-term for the body because it creates so much inflammation, again, leading to chronic disease. But also that sugar high is temporary. The next 2 or 3 hours, you're going to, really crash. And, what are you going to reach for? You're going to reach for another sugar high, which is coffee or soda or, something else, a candy bar, Snickers. It doesn't mean that you have to eat 100% all the time. But I think today we're just talking about replacing one meal. And what would that meal look like? I think for breakfast, it would look like some granola, some healthy granola that's not filled with sugar, and some fruit and cassava. I don't know if you've ever discovered cassava. I don't have interest in them. I don't make any money from them, but I love it. So it's this superfood powder that you mix with like almond milk or cashew milk, and it just makes a really great meal replacement. So I would do cassava over some really healthy nuts, like a granola-based nuts, some fruit, and boy, I'm good for 3 to 4 hours.
And what about replacing the traditional milk that everybody puts in cereal with either almond milk or cashew milk? What are the best choices there, and why?
Well, dairy, when you look at cheese and milk and eggs, contains a protein called casein. And casein very much resembles insulin. So the more dairy that you have in your diet, the higher the incidences of diabetes and inflammation. So I don't have any dairy in my diet. And so I replace it with either almond milk, cashew milk, oat milk. I think those are just, it's not so much it's a replacement, it's a step up. I think that we feel better, there's better nutrition. And again, we're not having all that inflammation in our gut. Remember, between the gut and the brain is a really important connection. If our gut is healthy, we're able to think and we're able to perform at a higher level.
Would you say that the drinking and eating of milk products is the single biggest error the traditional American is making with their diet right now?
I'd say the single biggest thing is really sugar. I think number one is sugar, number two is sugar, and number three is sugar. It's really sugar. And it doesn't make any difference if it's, white sugar or brown sugar. It's just the sugar that comes in is just so inflammatory. And that inflammation, again, leads to cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. But let's not necessarily say we're going to take sugar out so we don't get ill. How about instead, let's say we're going to take the sugar out so we feel great. Because really what we're really about at TellMD is feeling optimal. How do we achieve optimal health, body, mind, spirit, and energy and mood? How do we do that? It's by really saying, what can we really achieve? And I thinking a plant-based diet that doesn't have any dairy or minimal amount of dairy is the least inflammatory, but it's also the most nutritious and vitamin rich.
Well, what about the fact that most fruits that we eat contain a lot of natural sugars? Are those okay to eat?
Yeah, they really are in moderation, because when you're having, let's say, an orange or an apple, the blood sugar is more level. It doesn't have the spikes because it's bound in the cellulose. And so the body, the serum, absorbs it more at a constant level as opposed to having these up and down spikes. It's the up and down spikes that really target a raise in insulin, and it's the insulin that's very inflammatory. So orange juice is not good, but an orange is great. Apple juice is not healthy, but an apple's fantastic.
Got it. And so I can see there's lots of benefits, obviously, of maintaining a diet like you suggest, but given how we are as humans, is it okay to cheat every once in a while?
I don't think it's a good idea to say, I got XYZ's birthday party on Saturday or an event next Monday. I'm really going to stress out because I can't eat any of that because I saw Dr. Franklin on tellmd.com and he said I could only eat plant-based. We all need to lighten up, just lighten up. And I think having a cheat meal a week is not a big deal. It's what you eat really 90% of the time. In fact, I'll tell you, Fred, I think the anxiety of all week of anticipating that event that you're going to have to, be kind of ostracized, I think that's worse than going out and eating it.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Well, a lot of great information there, Tell. I'm sure we'll explore more in upcoming videos. We also have a lot of other videos that we've done that you can take a look at. And remember, check out tellmd.com. Tell, thanks a lot and good to see you again.
Let me just end with, at TellMD, we believe that the most powerful healing force in the universe is your own immune system. Eating a plant-based diet, dairy-free, is the first step to feeling the best humanly possible way you can in your life, no matter if you're young, middle-aged, or old. We're there for you. Check us out on the web at tellmd.com.
Thanks, Del. Great to see you.
Good to see you.